also a classroom teacher, and you're also the founder of two highly regarded high schools, the School of Law, Government, and Justice in the Bronx, and the first all-male school in the Bronx as well, the Eagle Academy for Young Men. So I want you to speak to us briefly about the curriculum that is being implemented in New York City schools to address the issue of anti-Semitism and all hate. Please be as concise as possible, because I have at least two more questions to ask.
Thank you so much for the question. So number one, teaching about the Holocaust, first of all, is required by New York State law. That's important to note. We also cover the Holocaust in grades 8, 10, and 11 in our social studies curriculum, as well as in a range of our ELA classes, including literature like The Diary of Anne Frank, Night, and many other literary pieces. We're also now working on a Holocaust resource guide, which is going to be available this fall in collaboration with the Museum of Jewish Heritage. But the thing that I think we're really super excited about is we are developing a very robust, comprehensive curriculum, new curriculum. It's going to be about a year before it's ready to go. That is going to cover the entire range of Jewish history. Children need to understand deeply about the history of the Jewish people if we ultimately want to solve for this issue of anti-Semitism.
So I appreciate that, because that was going to be my suggestion, because Jewish history didn't start with the Holocaust. There's an entire history of persecution that our kids need to learn about. There's also a part of history where the Jewish people and Muslims and Christians live together in harmony in the Middle East and different parts of the world, and I want to suggest you teach that as part of the curriculum as well. Mr. Sykes, can you talk about the distinction between anti-Semitic speech and speech that expresses solidarity with Palestinians or criticisms of Israel? Why is it dangerous to conflate the two?
Thank you. The ACLU has spoken out against the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act, not because we have any problem with anti-Semitism awareness, obviously, but because it incorporated a definition of anti-Semitism that includes criticism of Israel. And just as it is totally legitimate to criticize the US government or US government officials without necessarily casting aspersions on any particular individual, the government of Israel is certainly subject to criticism just like all others. Where that goes into ethnic-based hatred or targeting of particular individuals, obviously schools and communities can and should respond. But the right to dissent against our government and against others is core to free speech.
Thank you so much. And I just have a closing comment to make. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for your testimony, and thank you for your clarity around when you identify anti-Semitism, you respond swiftly and decisively, because it needs to be condemned and it needs to be handled accordingly. So I appreciate you all for being here and sharing that with us. What I'm going to ask of you, because I've been very disturbed by some of the language that has come from the other side of the aisle, language around teaching hate. Our teachers in our schools are not teaching hate, the majority of them. When I say majority, I mean 99.9%. I'm a former educator in New York City schools. I have never seen that. Teachers make mistakes, and teachers need to be educated and disciplined when necessary when they do make those mistakes. Yes or no question, just going down the line, starting with Mr. Banks.
Yes.
Can we fight against anti-Semitism and other forms of hate simultaneously? Yes or no?
Not only can we must.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes. So it's really important, because there's also been reports in the rise in Islamophobia in New York City schools and across the country. Do you all agree with that? Yes or no?
Yes.
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 Yes. Does sexism still exist in our society?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Does anti-black racism still exist in our society?
Absolutely.
Yes.
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 We must fight hate in all its forms at the same time. I have members of Congress talking about teachers teaching hate. None of them have an education background, by the way. They're talking about teachers teaching hate. I work in Congress. When you go in the rotunda and you look at American history, you see colonists coming in and taking over America from the Native Americans. There is no reference to the black people who built this country in our rotunda. But we're scolding you about teaching hate. You know how many black statues there are in the Capitol? 3. You know how many Confederate statues there are in the Capitol? 12. I work in an institution that teaches hate. And with our policy, Yet we're scolding you as educators who have been doing statutory law, thank you. Yet we're scolding you as educators who've been doing an exemplary job fighting against hate in our schools. So thank you for your work. Please continue to educate us.